Hello everybody, and welcome to the design presentation for our student-produced game, Trapped. My name is David Norman, and I'll be the first of four representing the fictitious Skyline Studios in presenting our game. I'll start by introducing the basic description of what the game is all about. Trapped is an action arcade video game. The reason for the name is that the primary goal is to escape a small container, which happens to be filled with liquid. I say container rather than bottle because there will be different levels with varying level environments. Currently, however, the design focuses on the first level, taking place in a soda pop bottle. Now, regarding the player's character, the game features a researching device called DEW, stands for Destructive Examination via Wafting. Wafting means to float gently through water or air, and deconstructive examination refers to its method of collecting CO2 bubbles for study. The DEW device sustains an artificial bubble around itself due to it not being waterproof, and uses a mechanic called a blast string to propel itself through water. This shoots bubbles outward and moves the DEW device in the opposite direction. As a side note, the matter of why CO2 bubbles are being collected for study is never mentioned and completely ignored. We don't feel an explanation is necessary for the game. The lack of one adds an element of humor. The main goal of Trapped is to reach the top. Secondary to that is to have as many points as possible when you get there. Points come from collecting CO2 bubbles, and any extra time left once the top is reached. Yes, there is a timer. It's linked to the score as a multiplier. The exact math is a little up in the air right now, but if the timer runs out before the player finishes, they'll lose the game. The other way to lose the game is by connecting with any bubbles larger than the character's artificial one. One hit ends the game. Unless the player has a shield modifier, of course, but that's for another section.
Hello everyone, I'm Joshua McDonald, and I'm going to explain a little more about Trapped. More specifically, the key features, inspiration behind the game, and the HUD. We as a team want to create a casual pick-up-and-play experience for the everyday gamer. Trapped features fast-paced gameplay, exciting and unique power-ups, numerous levels varying in difficulty, exhilarating bottle effects, particle effects, a unique 2.5D art style. The 2.5 dimension art will look like any other 3D game, but movement will occur in a 2D fashion. I would also like to touch upon particle effects for the game as well. This past month, I worked with UDK Cascade, which is an amazing tool for our project. When you picture a soda bottle, you may see different sizes of carbonation. Trapped will also share many of those differences by using not only 3D objects, but unique particle effects that will bring the game to life. The inspiration for Trapped occurred when opening a Sprite bottle. The idea was initially simple and unique. Over the past month, Trapped has evolved into an amazing design with numerous power-ups and levels, which showcase the unique gameplay experience. We look forward to developing the game and presenting it to everyone in 3 months. Trapped's HUD is designed for the streamlined appearance to allow players to have very little obstructing the game space. In this case, less is better. We believe we can create a more immersive experience for players with a simplex design. The main feature of the HUD is the pop-up menu, in which players can select a power-up on the fly without leaving the control area of the DEW device. To activate the power-up menu, players can click down and hold on the DEW device and the menu will appear. They will then drag their cursor to the power-up they would like and release the mouse. You may also notice that there is a timer centered at the top of the screen, and in the lower left hand corner displays the score and the multiplier above the score. Now, looking at the DEW device, you will notice the DEW device is a small bead inside the artificial bubble, and around the outer edge is a green ring. This is known to be the power-up meter. The ring will fill as fuel is collected in a clockwise motion. Fuel will be discussed later. Thank you for your time.
Hello everyone, I'm Ben Gontran, and I'm going to tell you a little more about Trapped, specifically the controls, NPC interactions, and the fuel used for power-ups. First, I'd like to explain the controls a little bit. The controls in Trapped are extremely simple by design and can easily be picked up by the casual gamer. The player simply touches the side of the bubble opposite of the direction they wish to travel. The bubble expels carbonation from the side the player touches, thereby propelling dew in the opposite direction. The player merely has to collide with other carbonation bubbles to absorb them and allow dew to keep moving. The player can move freely throughout the bottle in the up, left, and right directions, while the natural flow of carbonation keeps dew slowly rising. Next, I'd like to tell you about the non-player interactions in Trapped. Each bottle is abundant with bubbles of varying sizes. Dew is only able to absorb bubbles that are smaller and must avoid larger bubbles. Contact with a larger bubble will result in Dew's bubble being absorbed. This will cause Dew to implode in the liquid, effectively killing Dew. To avoid larger bubbles, Dew has an emergency marker system that indicates bubbles that are a threat. The emergency marker shines light upon larger bubbles, causing them to darken with a shade of red. An exciting part of Trapped will be collecting fuel to use for power-ups. Collecting fuel allows the player to activate any given power-up when the fuel gauge is full. The fuel is located throughout the bottle and collected when Dew comes into contact with it. The fuel gauge is located in the center of Dew and represented with a light. As the player collects more and more fuel, the light grows brighter. Once full, it will begin to flash, and the player will be able to use the power-up of their choice. To do this, the player will simply touch Dew for a brief moment. This brings up the circular power-up choice menu for quick, easy access to the various power-ups available. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Hurstel. I'm going to be covering power-ups, bottle states, and scoring in Trapped. The new device is already equipped with all of the power-ups. However, he needs fuel to use them. Once the required amount of fuel is gathered, the player will be able to activate one of three power-ups: the propeller, the shield, or the blower. The propeller allows Dew to travel at boost speed without using the CO2 he has gathered. This lasts until the fuel is drained. The shield allows Dew to come in contact with the destructive bubble without being destroyed. Once the contact is made, the destructive bubble and Dew's shield will vanish. The blower power-up is an extendable arm that reaches from the Dew device to anywhere chosen on the screen by the player for a brief second. This power-up is used to quickly collect a handful of smaller bubbles. The state of the container Dew is in will change throughout the level. This changes the pace of the level drastically, forcing the players to adapt to new situations. Two examples of bottle states with opposite effects are shaking and tapping. Before the bottle state change occurs, a warning message will be displayed, giving the player enough time to prepare for it. When the shake warning is displayed, the entire level speeds up and the player must compensate for this change in speed. On the other hand, when the player is warned that the container is being tapped on, the entire level slows down. These states are not only realistic occurrences that happen when dealing with carbonated containers, but will also provide a new challenge for the player to conquer. One goal in Trapped is to collect small CO2 bubbles in order to obtain score. The player wants to collect as many CO2 bubbles as possible before reaching the top. With this in mind, they have to reach the top before the timer runs out. While the timer is running, the score multiplier is dwindling, so the sooner they get to the top, the better the multiplier will be. The real challenge that Trapped presents is being able to find that balance between gathering bubbles and getting to the top in a beneficial time. I hope you enjoyed hearing about Trapped and what it will bring to the market. Thank you for your time.